This is about what I will personally label the idiocy of Team USA women's basketball. How
Stephen A. Smith just dropped a bombshell that absolutely nobody saw coming. Get this. Caitlyn Clark has reportedly quit Team USA after being snubbed for the Olympic roster. And no, this isn't just some rumor. The loudest voice in sports media just confirmed what we all suspected. Clark is done trying to get approval from people who clearly never wanted her in the first place. The golden girl of basketball has gone silent, but the fallout from this is deafening, and it's about to change everything for women's basketball. So what do you think? Did Caitlyn make the right call by walking away, or should she have stayed and fought for her spot? Let me know what you think in the comment.
And because of that, when you consider some of the hard times other people gave her, they were resentful of the fact that this white girl came on the scene where there was a bunch of sisters that preceded her, spanning decades, that were big time, that deserved a lot of credit. I mean, people looked at the Cheryl Swoops of the world, the Maya Moores of the world, and others, and they said, yo, there was a bunch of people that came before her that did big things for the WNBA. I respect it. It is right. I appreciate it. But whiteness does have its privileges, especially when you got a game. And what a lot of people weren't willing or were a bit reluctant to appreciate was the game on this young white sister of ours. She can ball. And oh, by the way, she was a great ambassador for the game. And by the way, she came in there and looked out for everybody else. For 22 years, they couldn't get chartered flights. That sister got there and it was done in 2 weeks. That's who.
You have to understand, Stephen A. Smith doesn't just yell for attention. When he digs in on a story this hard, it means something huge is going down behind the scenes. His latest bombshell about Caitlyn Clark and Team USA isn't just him criticizing a bad roster choice. No, he's blowing the lid off a systemic rot within women's basketball that has been festering for years, and it has finally publicly exploded.
What the hell is going on with WNBA that they cannot handle all this attention that they're getting, as well as the hate and anger towards Caitlyn Clark?
When it comes to Caitlyn Clark, now I've taken hits because I was calling it from day one. You got people that are resentful towards her. It's really not about her, guys. It's about what she represents. Before she ever came along, there were a lot of outstanding basketball players who happened to be black females that was doing their thing on the WNBA level, and they never got this kind of shine. This girl, the Golden Goose, comes along, and she wreaks havoc. She's a star caliber player who draws this attention. And maybe it's because that fan base that she has and her being a young white lady contributes to it. So what? Benefit from it.
Think about it. The Olympic roster announcement should have been a total non-event. USA Basketball drops the names. Fans chat about it for a day and then life moves on. But not this time. When the leaks started confirming that Caitlyn Clark, the one woman single-handedly selling out arenas that have been ghost towns for decades, was left off the roster, the reaction wasn't just confusion. It was pure rage. The entire basketball world just couldn't wrap its head around how the most popular player in the game wasn't going to be on that Olympic team.
But are we really trying to grow the game? Because this is the most popular women's basketball player in the world, and it ain't close. They had to move the Mystic game to an NBA arena. Name the time. And I'm going to turn it over to you because I don't want to get long-winded. I want somebody, one of our women colleagues, Stephen A., to tell me when a WNBA game has had to be moved because of a woman player. Just one. Just tell me one. Because I know in her attendance, she's averaging about 17,000. All the other WNBA games in which she's not a participant average about 7. So are we really trying to go the game? Is that what we're really trying to do? Or are we just talking about we're trying to grow the game and just bullshitting?
The official excuse from the selection committee was flimsy right out of the gate. They started talking about experience requirements and a 3-year commitment to be part of the core group. Sure, on paper, that sounds kind of logical, but it completely ignores the reality of who Caitlyn Clark is to the sport. You don't leave Michael Jordan at home because he's a rookie. You don't bench Tiger Woods because he hasn't paid his dues. You take the generational talent, the biggest star on the planet, and you put them on that plane. That's just how professional sports are supposed to work.
But the WNBA does. You got a max salary at $250,000. You had attendance, although it was trending in the right direction, certainly wasn't where you wanted it to be. And as Shannon pointed out just the other day, you got a team in the Indiana Fever with their struggling selves, struggling to win a damn game and be relevant. No team in the WNBA was worse other than the winless Washington Mystics, okay? And they went from 4,000 in attendance to 17,000. This girl is box office. I said a rising tide lifts all boats. What you do, especially if you're Team USA and you're trying to be globalized, and it's an opportunity to globalize the WNBA brand. So people like Brittany Griner, you know, God bless her soul, and others don't have to go to Russia in the off season.
But this is where the story takes a genuinely disturbing turn. Insiders started leaking that this wasn't some mistake based on a spreadsheet. This was a deliberate message. Sources close to the committee revealed there were concerns about how veteran players would handle Clark's insane level of fame. They were literally worried about the circus and the media attention she brings. So what did they do? They chose to protect the feelings of a few established players over growing the entire sport and maximizing the team's global appeal. This is exactly where Stephen A. Smith drew a line in the sand. He didn't just disagree, he called out the absolute stupidity of putting locker room comfort ahead of competition and basic business sense. He went on national TV and just ripped every single excuse to shreds. His point was devastatingly simple. The Olympics is a global showcase, the one time every 4 years when casual fans actually tune in to watch women's basketball. The sport has been fighting for viewership for decades, and suddenly, you get a superstar who brings in millions of new eyeballs, shatters TV records, and sells out entire cities, and the committee's brilliant plan was to leave her at home.
You make decisions, marketing. I want people watching. I want eyeballs. I want advertising dollars. Why? Because he'll get paid. Y'all will get paid. And guess who else will get paid? You see where I'm coming from? That's what it's about. Stop acting otherwise. We know this. You don't sit up there and pass on Caitlyn Clark. It was stupid, Team USA. It was a dumb.
Stephen A. argued this was a marketing catastrophe of historic proportions. He pointed out that for Team USA, it's not even really about winning the gold medal anymore. Let's be honest, they win gold almost automatically, no matter who's on the roster. The talent gap is so huge, they could send a college all-star team and still probably dominate. The real mission should have been to grow the game, to expand the brand, to bring in a whole new generation of fans. By benching Clark, Smith says the gatekeepers prove they care more about their little internal power structure and protecting egos than they do about the actual health and future of the league. He basically insinuated that there's a level of incompetence running the show that is almost impossible to believe. Unless, of course, you factor in that it might be deliberate. They didn't just miss an opportunity, they actively threw it in the trash. And according to Smith, this is a level of disrespect Clark will not forget. He hinted that the bridge with USA Basketball might be burned for good, and that her team is keeping a very detailed list of every single person who stayed silent while this went down. Okay, let's be real. If we're going to be completely honest about why Caitlyn Clark isn't in Paris, we have to talk about the one thing the WNBA establishment is terrified to discuss: jealousy. It is the only explanation that makes any logical sense. The warning shots started firing before Clark even played a single pro game. You had Diana Taurasi, a legend, making that famous comment that reality is coming for Clark, which sounded a lot more like a threat than friendly advice. Then you had another icon, Cheryl Swoops, trying to question Clark's college records, suggesting she was only good because she shot the ball too much. The criticism felt personal, targeted, and petty. Why were these legends so obsessed with a 22-year-old? Why were they trying to tear down her accomplishments before she even had a chance to prove herself? The theory that Stephen A. Smith keeps pointing to is brutally simple. The old guard is bitter about the attention Clark gets. Think about it. These veterans played their entire careers in nearly empty gyms. They flew commercial, they grinded it out for pennies, and got almost zero mainstream recognition. And now, here comes this kid from Iowa with private jets on standby, Nike deals worth tens of millions, and fans lining up for blocks just to get a glimpse of her before she's even played a single pro game. Look, it's human nature to feel a little envious in that situation, but in pro sports, veterans usually embrace the rookie who brings in the cash, because a rising tide lifts all boats. When Tiger Woods blew up the golf scene, the other golfers didn't hate him, they thanked him for tripling their prize money and bringing in massive new sponsors. But in the WNBA, the reaction has been the complete opposite. It feels like some players want to punish Clark for her popularity instead of cashing in on it, and that toxic environment is exactly why Clark might be secretly thrilled she's not on that Olympic team. And the resentment didn't just stay in press conferences or on social media either. It spilled onto the court in a way that raises serious questions about player safety. If you've been watching the games, you've seen it. Caitlyn Clark gets hit differently, and I'm not talking about tough physical defense. I'm talking about dirty non-basketball plays that cross a very clear line. The Chennedy Carter incident was the perfect example. Clark gets blindsided with a hip check when the ball isn't even in play. Carter mouths something off and knocks her to the floor in a blatant cheap shot. But here's the crazy part. Look at the reaction. Did the WNBA immediately suspend Carter to protect its biggest star? Nope. Did the veteran players rush to Clark's defense and call it out? Not a chance. In fact, tons of players and media personalities actually tried to justify it, calling it a welcome to the league moment and saying Clark needed to toughen up. Stephen A. Smith pointed out the massive double standard here. If this was LeBron James or Steph Curry getting cheap-shotted, there would be immediate suspensions to protect the asset. But with Clark, it feels like it's open season. And this connects directly back to the Olympics. Why on earth would Clark want to get on a plane and spend a month in a foreign country with teammates who either took part in this kind of treatment or just stood by silently and watched it happen? The Olympic roster is filled with the very same women who have been making her professional life a nightmare. The trust is gone. You can't build team chemistry with people who seem to actively want you to fail or get hurt. That environment would be toxic at best and downright dangerous at worst. Which brings us to the most explosive part of this entire saga, the rumored soft quit. So after the roster was announced and the backlash was insane, reports came out that USA Basketball might offer Clark an alternate spot. Basically, a backup in case someone gets injured. It's a pathetic consolation prize designed to save face. But here's the kicker. Sources close to Clark say she had zero interest in being anyone's backup plan. The rumor is that she politely but firmly told them that if she wasn't good enough for the main roster, she wasn't interested in waiting around for someone else's injury. And that is the soft quit. She didn't throw a tantrum on social media or hold some dramatic press conference. She just quietly withdrew her name from consideration. Stephen A. Smith's commentary strongly backs this up. He's implying that Clark has finally realized her own power in this game. She is the WNBA economy right now. She doesn't need Team USA to build her brand. Team USA needed her to boost their ratings. By walking away to rest and recover, she's sending a clear message. You made your bed, now you can lie in it. It's a total power move, and it shows incredible maturity and business savvy. And it's driving the establishment absolutely insane because they expected her to beg for that alternate spot. They expected her to be grateful for whatever scraps they threw her way. Instead, she's taking a vacation while they play in front of TV audiences that will probably be half the size they would have been if she were there.
And let's just talk numbers for a second because the data does not lie. The Clark effect is real and it's massive. Games with Caitlyn Clark are pulling in viewership numbers that WNBA hasn't seen in over 20 years. We're talking 300 to 400% increases in rating. When she plays, arenas are sold out. When she visits other teams, they have to move the games to bigger NBA arenas just to fit everyone in. She is a walking stimulus package for the entire league. Stephen A. hammered this economic point home. The Olympics is a TV product, plain and simple. NBC paid a fortune for the broadcast rights, and they need big ratings to make their money back. By leaving Clark at home, the selection committee basically took millions of dollars and lit it on fire. And the revenge here is simple. Clark doesn't have to do a thing. She just has to stay home. When the Olympic ratings come in and they're lower than a random Indiana Fever game from June, the point will be made without her saying a word. This financial reality is what makes the whole thing so baffling. It's not just a bad sports decision, it's objectively terrible business. And in the world of pro sports, losing money is the one sin that usually gets you fired. Yet somehow, this committee made a choice that actively torpedoed their own financial product.
Ultimately, we have to look at the toxic culture that let this happen. There's a growing belief that the WNBA has a serious mean girl problem, that it operates like some exclusive club where new people are hazed. The old guard, the WNBA purists, seem to actually resent the new casual fans Clark brings in. You see them online getting angry, saying things like, "We've been here for years, you need to support everyone, not just her." Instead of welcoming new revenue and new fans with open arms, they're gatekeeping the sport. So here's the bottom line. Stephen A. Smith just confirmed what we all thought. Caitlyn Clark is done with Team USA after they picked egos over excellence. She flat out refused to be a backup for people who never wanted her there. It's a power move that changes women's basketball forever. The committee killed their golden goose, and the ratings are about to prove it. Do you respect Clark's decision to walk away? Let me know in the comments, and be sure to like and subscribe for more breaking news.